Saving for a house deposit is the biggest financial goal that you will ever tackle. This is going to be tough. There is no way around this. But I want to show you in this video that it is possible. And I'm going to take you through step by step how you can, at a minimum, go from 0 to 25k in 5 years. Hello and welcome back to the channel. For anyone that's new here, hi, my name is James and I have spent the best part of 10 years investing, advising and teaching people how to manage their money. Saving for a deposit is hard. So hard that many people don't even start trying. But today I want to help you break down that seemingly insurmountable mountain of a goal. And I want to show you that when you break it down step by step, it's actually not as impossible as you once might have thought. Don't get me wrong, this is not going to be easy. But today I want to share with you some of the strategies that you can use to help you get there. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have the confidence to go and hit this thing hard. So in today's video, we have got a hell of a lot to cover. First up, we're going to be looking at how you can set goals and how you can set goals in a way that's actually going to drive change in your behavior. I'm also going to show you how you can stick to those goals and remain accountable. Of course, we're also going to be looking at some strategies to help you save more money. But past that point, you're going to need to earn more money. So I'm also going to cover some legitimate ways that you can go out and earn more money online. And no, I'm not talking about selling stuff on eBay or setting up some drop shipping scheme. These are legitimate ways that anybody can go out and earn more money online. And finally, I'm going to be covering some of the key financial products that you can use to help you get to where you want to be. This topic is absolutely huge, and I'm actually going to cover the big question of whether you should be investing the money that you're saving or whether you should be just putting it in a savings account. And I'm going to cover that in a separate video. I'm also going to get my colleague Ben, who is a mortgage advisor, to come on here and teach you guys everything that you need to know about mortgages and some interesting strategies that you can use to make sure that you get the best deal. So if you want to make sure that you catch all of that stuff, please make sure you do subscribe and press that notification button. Now, let's get into it. Setting goals. 25k sounds like a hell of a lot of money, and it may seem like that is out of reach of you right now. But that's the same as with any big goal when you first set it, because it's not until you start to try and break it down step by step, how you would actually go about achieving that goal, that you start to realize it is actually possible. I work for a startup, and just like any other company, each year we sit down and we set ourselves goals that we think we can achieve in the upcoming year. And these goals are based on us simply doing more of the same, spending more money on marketing, getting a few more sales, and being slightly more efficient. And for some people, saving for a deposit can be achieved by doing just that, simply by doing more of the same, by saving slightly more money each month. But for most of us, the amount that we would need to save for a deposit is absolutely huge, and there's no way we could achieve it without a fundamental change. And this is the exact same as what it's like working for a startup. There is no way that we will continue to survive if we just keep doing more of the same. We have to think outside of the box. We have to think of some way that we can achieve those unbelievable, far out there stretch targets. So this is what we do. We take that initial goal that we set, that we think we might be able to achieve if we keep doing more of the same, and we double it. Sometimes we even triple it. And we stick that new stretch goal up on the wall to look at, just to stare at it and be like, how absurd is that? Like, we could never achieve that. And then we think, okay, fine, we won't be able to achieve that by doing more of the same. But if we did actually want to try and achieve that, just humor ourselves here, what would it actually take? What barriers would we have to break down? How would we have to reinvent ourselves to be able to do that? And this is where the magic happens. This is where innovation comes from, because you force yourself, just as, initially a bit of a joke, a bit of a dare, to think, okay, if I did actually want to go after this, what would it take? And it's when you start to break it down step by step, you actually begin to realize that it's not as impossible as you once thought. This type of thinking is the way that companies like SpaceX have been able to do what they've done, simply by getting a bunch of people in a room and asking, what if? That sounds crazy, but what if? And this is the thing. What we find is that we are actually able to achieve so much more than we could possibly imagine. And if you put these steps in motion, even though you may not actually reach that crazy stretch target, you will have forced change. You will have innovated in a way that can allow you to grow to be something so much more than where you were on your initial trajectory. And for you, that is what's going to be required to achieve this goal. There is no way that you can continue on the same path that you were on before. This is going to take fundamental change. And that's what this video is all about. I want to put that stretch target up there and show you that it is actually possible to go from 0 to 25K in 5 years. Now, you may be aiming for a much bigger goal than 25K, but you can still use all of the principles that I'm going to talk about in this video to put that stretch target up there and dare yourself to think how you might actually go about achieving it. Because I bet you'll be surprised by what you find. Accountability. So once you've got your goal, you need to be held accountable for it. And the best way to do this is to make it public. You could tell your partner, you could tell your friends, you could tell your family, you could stick it on your fridge, you could stick it on your forehead. I don't care, as long as you make it public. Because goals that we keep to ourselves are flimsy little things. If you've ever used an app called Strava, you'll know what I mean by this. Before I started using Strava, whenever I would go out for a run or cycle on my own, I would push myself really hard for about 5 minutes, and then I'd just probably cop out and just take it slow because, who's gonna know? However, since I've started using Strava, whenever I go out for a run on my own, I'm never actually on my own anymore, because I know that everything that I do is gonna be posted up online for everybody to see. And I find that I end up pushing myself so much harder because of this. In fact, I've become so addicted to this digital support team that if my phone then runs out of battery halfway through a run, I'll probably just stop running because I know nobody is watching. It really is amazing how quick we are to let ourselves down. But as soon as you make that public, as soon as you start involving other people, it's a totally different story. So make sure you share your goals and share your whole journey with others. Savings strategies. There's a hell of a lot of good content out there for different ways to save money. And I just want to share a couple of them with you today. And these are ones that I think are essential if you're going to be taking this seriously. Number 1, put money away at the beginning of the month. This is a must. As soon as you get paid your salary, you need to set up a direct debit that takes the amount of money that you need to be saving straight out of your account. If you're just waiting to see what money you're going to have left over at the end of the month, this is never going to work. If you really struggle with budgeting, it might be sensible to try and set up an arrangement whereby you are paid weekly. Now, you can actually just do this yourself by putting your salary as soon as you get it into a separate account and then setting up a direct debit that pays you at the beginning of every week. Because many people find it's much easier to budget if you're doing it weekly. Number 2, put your savings into an account that takes at least 24 hours to access. Impulse purchases are a real killer. But if you can make sure that your savings are not accessible easily, you'll find that a lot of those impulses, a lot of those feelings actually subside very quickly. In fact, you can take this one step further. And whenever you're trying to buy a non-essential item online, you can put it in your online basket and leave it there. And if you come back to it the next day and you still want to buy that item, go ahead and buy it. But you'll actually be very surprised at how often you just forget about it altogether. Number 3, review your spending. Please do this. Even if it's just once, please give it a go. You may be thinking that there's no way that you can cut down on your spending right now, but until you look, you really don't know. And now that pretty much everything comes with a subscription or gives you the option of buy now, pay later, these hidden costs can really stack up over time. Now, as part of our 5-year plan to get to 25K, we're going to target £2,000 of saving from our salary each year. That's £166 a month or £10,000 in total over the 5 years. If you think you can save more than this, brilliant. And it's going to make this next part a hell of a lot easier. Earning extra income. Now, I'm purposely going to put a hell of a lot of weight on this section because this section is actually a lot less subjective. We all have different salaries and we can all save different amounts. But we're actually all much more in control of how much money we earn than you might think. And no, I'm not just going to suggest that you retrain as a software developer. I want to give you some genuine ideas of how you can legitimately earn money online, no matter who you are. Now remember, this is a stretch target, so it's going to be hard, but it certainly is possible. So first up, usertesting.com. At work, we are constantly designing and building new digital experiences for our customers. But before we put them live, we need to test them on real people to make sure that they work. Depending on the type of test that we're running, we would pay anything from 10 up to £100 for somebody to come and test our product. And sites like usertesting.com help us find people to test our products. And if you sign up as a tester, you could make £500 a year, if not more. Next up, we have Appen. Now, Tesla's autonomous driving technology uses a process called machine learning, where algorithms learn to recognize objects based on identifying certain patterns. But to train those algorithms, you already need a massive set of pictures that have already been tagged as light post or not light post. And this first job needs to be done by humans. Appen is a company that makes that happen and will pay you to help tag datasets. And you could reasonably be expected to earn about £500 a year by doing this. mTurk is an Amazon business that helps other companies outsource their manual processes. This could be things like data validation, surveys, or even content moderation, all tasks that can be done virtually by a distributed workforce. You can sign up and start getting assigned these odd jobs, and you can push this as hard as you want, and you could earn £500 a month if you really wanted to. But to be more realistic, let's say you can earn £500 from this each year. Bank switching bonuses. Many banks offer bonuses if you switch over to them. And nowadays it's actually really easy because they handle the whole switch for you. This is a really big thing on Money Saving Expert, and Martin Lewis has talked about this a lot. And you could quite easily earn £200 a year just from switching over bank accounts. And finally, we have Prolific, which is one of many survey-based companies where you get paid for completing surveys. Marketeers and product teams are always trying to better understand their audiences, and sites like Prolific give them access to the types of people that they are looking for. This is slightly different from the others in that you don't know how many surveys you're going to get assigned because it all depends on your individual profile. But this is really easy, really simple stuff, and you could earn £300 from just doing this casually. In fact, next time you're sitting on the loo, instead of just mindlessly scrolling through Instagram, why don't you sign yourself up for Prolific, and you can earn a little bit of cash on the side whilst you're at it. I've included links down in the description to all of the different sources that I've talked about today, but there's actually many other ways that you can earn money exactly like this. And if you are really interested in earning money online, then I would highly suggest checking out the subreddit Beer Money. And I would actually be really grateful if you could share down in the comments if you found any interesting ways to earn money online that are legitimate and that could benefit other people that are watching the video. And if you've never used one of these apps, or you've never even thought you would need to use one of these apps, I would highly suggest that you sign up and just give it a go, because it's unbelievably liberating when you realize that you can, if you really need to, sign up to these services and be paid for your time, no matter where you are in the world. And these types of opportunities are only likely to get bigger and better as more companies wake up to the idea of utilizing decentralized workforces. So now you can see that although each of these little sources isn't much on their own, when you add them all together and you do this year after year after year, it can add up to a significant amount of money. Now remember, this is not going to be easy, but it certainly is possible. You should also know that if you earn more than £1,000 from any sort of side gig or side hustle in a single tax year, you may have to pay income tax on that money. But in this plan, to try and keep things simple, I'm actually going to ignore the potential tax that you might have to pay on that income. But to balance it out, I'm also going to ignore any interest that you might earn from the savings that you've got over the years. So if you combine the 10K that we could earn from other income sources with the 10K that we're saving from our salary, that would leave us with 20K, which is still 5K short. But This is where lifetime ISAs come in. A lifetime ISA, also known as a LISA, works just like any other ISA, in that once you put money into it, you can either earn interest or you can invest that money in the stock market. And any gains that you make or any income that you receive is free from any tax. But LISAs also have another advantage, in that when you make a contribution, the government will actually top up that contribution by 25%. You can put up to £4,000 in a LISA each year. And if you do so, you'll get the full £1,000 government bonus. However, LISAs are not as flexible as normal ISAs, and there's only 3 scenarios in which you can take money out of them. The first is to buy your first property, which needs to be valued at less than £450,000. The second is on retirement. So when you reach the age of 60, you can then start to withdraw money from your LISA however you wish. Or if you really do need to access the money for whatever reason, you can withdraw it, but you'll have to pay a 25% penalty. So let's say you paid in £80 and you got that 25% bonus from the government, so £20. You'd have £100 in your LISA. And let's say you needed to, for whatever reason, withdraw that straight away, you could do, but you would be charged a 25% penalty, which would leave you with £75. Now, this isn't the end of the world, and it's actually not that bad a penalty. But I would suggest that you do not put all of your money into a LISA and instead keep a separate emergency fund that you can access without having to pay any penalties. However, these LISAs are the best way to save for your first home. And if we had invested, as according to our plan, £4,000 every year for the 5 years, at the end of it, we'd be left with, you guessed it, 25k. This gets even more interesting if you can find a partner or even a mate to do this with. And you could end up with a joint deposit of 50k in just 5 years. Now, the point of this video is not to show you that there's some easy way to get around this. This is still going to be hard. This is the biggest financial goal that you are ever going to have to tackle. There will be many times that you feel like giving up, especially when you get knocked off course by things you can't control. Like when you're changing rentals and you suddenly don't get your deposit back, or your car breaks down and suddenly you have to fork out for repairs. These things are going to hit you hard, and sometimes they may even wipe you out completely. Which is why I'm going to circle back to one of my first points. You need to find somebody to do this with. You need to find somebody that you can share this journey with. Not just so that they can hold you accountable for your goals, but so that they can help you through those dark moments, because there will be some. Now, this could be a partner, this could be a mate, or you could even set up a YouTube channel and just document your journey and share those troubles and worries with the community, because there are millions of people going through exactly the same shit, all just looking for a little bit of support and encouragement. And if you really don't think that you have anyone that can do this with you, then please do feel free to message me on Instagram. Tell me about your goals, tell me about what you want to achieve, and I will try and help you to stay accountable. I'll message you at least every 6 months to check in and make sure you're on track. Helping people keep accountable to their goals and giving them encouragement through the tough times is one of the key ways that financial advisors help their clients. It's literally like a personal trainer, but for finance. As part of this experiment, I want to see if I can find a way to do this at scale and give you the support and encouragement that you need in the format that you want it. So please do feel free to let me know in the comments or reach out to me on Instagram if you are looking for support and guidance, because I'm really interested in trying to find new ways to give you the support that you need.